full of fall flavors. This spiced apple oat sourdough cake is one of my favorite recipes because it is really easy and quick to make, and it also makes use of apples that may be a little bit past their prime, so instead of throwing them out, you can hide them in this delicious spiced cake. And let's bake it together. So I have here 3 apples, but if you have big apples like this, you can actually get away with 2 big apples, or you take 3 medium apples. However, what I love about these recipes is that they're so flexible. If you are really intent on using a bunch of apples and you want the apples to shine a little bit more throughout this recipe, you can use more. It won't hurt this recipe. So I'm going to use these 2 big apples, and the first thing I will do is cut them. And you can always decide if you want to peel them or not. They would both be good. I'm gonna core and peel the apples. You can throw out the apple core and peel, or you can keep them because actually it's really easy to make your own apple cider vinegar from apple scraps. So that's why I like to save it. And then I have my big bowl here. I will cut the apples in chunks. If your apples are on the particularly sweet side, you can toss them a little bit with some lemon juice, and if they're kind of tart, which mine are, then you can just leave them as they are. In a separate bowl, I am adding 3 tablespoons of melted butter and half a cup of sourdough starter. This one's fairly active. You can see that, and it doesn't matter if it's oat or if it's rye or if it's wheat. It can be any sourdough starter. I'll add 2 eggs. I like to mix that up a little bit. I'm adding about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of maple syrup. Cinnamon, I'm using about 2 teaspoons, and some freshly grated nutmeg. And my oat flour. And you can either just toss the apples in the dough and then put them in your baking dish. I'm actually going to use a cast iron skillet because it looks so rustic, or you can saute the apples in a little bit of butter to soften them up. Also, it intensifies the flavor, so I'm going to do that. I'll let that sit here for a little bit until the apples are just a little bit softer. You can also grate your apples if you are looking for less chunk, and this is why I love these recipes so much, because they're so flexible. If you grate the apple, then this will go much faster, and you can actually toss the grated apple right into your batter, or you soften your apple chunks up, just like I have right here. You can also cut the apples in slices. As for the dough, if you wanted to make a quick recipe that has the more complex sourdough flavor, you can bake it right away. If you would like to longer ferment it, to properly ferment it, and to have the sourdough pre-ferment all the grain, you can actually let this sit covered at room temperature somewhere for a little bit. Now, if you're letting it sit for a little bit, it will actually rise, and then you can use it as is. And if you are tossing it right over after you've made it and you're not letting it ferment, you can do that in the refrigerator or at room temperature here out on the counter. You can add some baking powder to it so that the cake actually rises a little bit more. Once the apples are soft, you just pour the batter over the apples, and if you like, you can even mix it in a little bit. And then I'll bake it at 350 degrees until golden brown. Gosh, it smells so amazing. It smells like fall. You can smell the cinnamon and the nutmeg, and this is such a good healthy breakfast or snack or anytime you're craving a cake. And I recommend you keep your sourdough starter close by, because I have an entire playlist here with more sourdough recipes, sourdough cakes, and I'll see you over in that playlist. Thank you so much for watching.